There's a massive uprising happening in the nation of Brazil, and as it turns out, none other than Elon Musk has found himself in the middle of it. We're going to see what's happening in this raging battle between X and the Brazilian Supreme Court and what it all means for the future of free speech, both here at home and abroad. You're not going to want to miss this. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you stay sane during these insane times. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. And gang, you know that the powers that be are wreaking havoc on our economy, right? You could see it with your own eyes. Bumbling Biden and his disastrous policies are causing all kinds of financial issues for Americans. But thankfully, there are freedom-loving patriots out there working hard to destroy despair and create generational wealth. And these same patriots are beating the left at their own game. I'm so grateful that my friend and sponsor, Michael Lush, is one such patriot. He's the founder of Replace Your University and the incredible upcoming Create Your Own Economy event. This is one event our country's in desperate need of, and Michael's offering it to Turley talkers at an amazingly discounted price. Gang, there's already a group of Turley Talks patriots out there who've been following Michael's expert advice, and they're changing their financial futures and securing a legacy to leave for their children and grandchildren. At this live virtual event, Michael and his business partner, Joseph Aaron, will lead you through their bulletproof financial blueprint to help you become a victor instead of a victim in today's insane economic times. So come on, gang, you got nothing to lose when you join us in this masterclass that will teach you to take charge of your financial destiny. To get your tickets for this amazing virtual event, just click on that link below or go to turleyeconomy.com and join us Monday, April 15th at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Just click on that link below to register, and I can't wait to see you there. On April 3rd, investigative journalist Michael Shellenberger released the Twitter Files Brazil that revealed for all to see records released by X, formerly Twitter, that showed that, quote, Brazil is engaged in a sweeping crackdown on free speech led by a Supreme Court justice. A number of members of the Brazilian Congress, as well as fellow journalists, were cited in the bombshell report as having been targets of censorship, and virtually all of them are supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. And the files went on to document how this single judge, Justice Alexander de Moraes, who bizarrely looks like an evil villain straight out of the Marvel or DC comic universe, Elon's calling him Brazil's Darth Vader. But as it turns out, according to the report, he's been jailing individuals without trial just for things they posted on social media. He then, according to the Twitter files, is demanding personal details about Twitter users who use hashtags he didn't like. He demanded access to Twitter's internal data in violation of Twitter's own policy, and he sought to censor unilaterally Twitter posts by sitting members of Brazil's Congress. And until X complies with all that, they'd be fined thousands and thousands of dollars a day. But obviously, Elon's not intimidated. He tweeted out in response, quote, we are lifting all restrictions. This judge has applied massive fines, threatened to arrest our employees, and cut off access to X in Brazil. As a result, we'll probably lose all revenue in Brazil and have to shut down our offices there. But principles matter more than profit. Musk then followed up that tweet with this, quote, coming shortly, X will publish everything demanded by Alexander and how those requests violate Brazilian law. This judge has brazenly and repeatedly betrayed the Constitution and the people of Brazil. He should resign or be impeached. Shame, Alexander. Shame. And so now the latest is that this Darth Vader Supreme Court Justice Alexander Moraes has ordered a criminal investigation into Elon Musk. We obviously know this is called a Banana Republic justice. Rather than investigating a crime in search for a man, a perpetrator, this judge is investigating a man in search of a crime. I wonder where we've seen that before, huh? Now, needless to say, this isn't the first time Elon has stared down attempts by governments to censor content on X. Just a few months back, the bullies in Brussels over at the EU launched their first ever investigation based on its new draconian and authoritarian social media rules. The European Commission announced that they had opened infringement proceedings into X accusing the platform for not doing enough to stop supposed disinformation and hate speech from spreading online. I love how this tweet responded to these so-called infringement proceedings. In response to this idiot bureaucrat announcing that the European Commission has opened formal infringement proceedings against X, this fellow replied, quote, translation, due to failing to control public opinion in accordance with the U.S. and West requirements and allowing the spread of true information that's not conducive to the image of the U.S. and the West. And that's spot on, obviously, the U.S.'s leaders. What this is ultimately about is the fact that Brazilian and EU bureaucrats can't control Elon or X like they can other platforms. And that is why he's such a target. When it comes to Brazil in particular, we're actually dealing with a whole new level of statewide corruption. You might be unaware, but the current leftist president there, Lula da Silva, back in 2017, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison after being convicted in one of the biggest corruption scandals in Brazil's history, if not the world. And he was barred from ever being able to run for the presidency again. So if that's the case, then the obvious question is, well, how the hell is Lula president now? And this is where the corruption within Brazilian politics begins to break out for all to see. What we have to understand is that in Brazil, it's not the president that's been invested with supreme power, as it were. The president actually is rather limited in terms of his power and influence in Brazilian politics. The real power in Brazil resides in their Supreme Court. The court itself is comprised of 11 justices, and of those 11, 7 were appointed by Lula. Lula and some of his ideologically leftist ilk, like Dilma Rousseff, who took over after Lula. So 7 of the 11 judges have been appointed by Lula or by a Lula surrogate. So what happened is that back in 2021, without any explanation, one of the Supreme Court justices, a fellow who was appointed by Lula forces, overturned Lula's conviction, simply stating that it lacked necessary justification. If I recall, the formal decision claimed that the trials were not held in their proper venue, their proper trial venue. Moreover, the judge didn't just overturn the conviction, he nullified it, which in turn freed Lula from jail and allowed him to once again run for president, which he won by a single percentage point. Isn't that convenient? So obviously, Bolsonaro supporters have felt completely slighted by a corrupt judicial system ever since, as you saw in those protests at the beginning of the video. So these censorship demands and criminal investigations into Elon Musk, these are just par for the course for this corrupt Brazilian system. But what this scandal, frankly, all really reveals, in my view, is Elon's unwavering support for X, again, formerly Twitter, to be an international platform that celebrates the free exchange of thoughts and ideas. We have to remember, as Jordan Peterson always reminds us, freedom of speech is inextricably linked to freedom of thought. There's essentially no difference between speech and thought, precisely because so much of our thought is organized verbally, right? And this is so profound because it's not merely the notion that what we think is expressed in words, but rather what we think is in terms of words. Words constitute our thoughts. We ask ourselves questions all the time, and we do so to actually get answers from our own consciences. And so if that's true, what woke cancel culture all over the world, as it turns out, has actually been trying to do in their relentless attempt to stifle our free speech is that they are actually trying to stifle our free thought. That's why we call it the woke mind virus. It's the woke mind virus because all of the attempts to silence free speech are ultimately attempts at silencing what Orwell called wrong think. We are guilty of verbally expressing thoughts that woke leftist ideologues have the utter, despicable, repulsive gall to claim are not allowed to be thought. And so countering the woke mind virus obviously involves making room for free thought, which itself involves effectively shutting down their attempts at undermining free speech. And that is exactly what Elon Musk is doing here. He's effectively resisting any and all attempts at undermining free speech and is providing an arc, as it were, for freedom lovers all over the world. And it's precisely that arc that promises to sustain liberty in the days and years ahead. Hey, gang, I just wanted to give you a huge note of thanks to each and every one of you, the thousands of you that have recently clicked on the link below and joined our Insiders Club. As many of you know, we took a big hit from big tech. Our channel was completely and totally demonetized, but you, literally thousands of you, stepped in and you rescued me and this channel by bypassing big tech and joining our Insiders Club. You made it loud and clear to the Silicon Valley oligarchs that we're a movement, an army of like-minded patriots who refuse to be silenced by the international woke police. And so once again, I just want to take this moment to thank each and every one of you who have joined our Insiders Club for coming to our rescue. And for those of you who want to join in on the effort and take action, gang, just click on the link below and join our email list. That way we will never, ever, ever lose touch with each other, no matter what big tech does. So just click on that link below, join our email list, and become a part of an army of literally hundreds of thousands of patriots dedicated to taking our nation back, most importantly, together.